Hi guys, welcome back to Liz Inspire Tech. Today we are going to continue from where we left off in the previous section. In the previous section, we handled some SQL statements like the create table, insert into, select from the table, and delete from the table. Today we are going to handle some SQL queries, and we would need a new library called pandas. So let's import pandas and let's head over to our code. You realize that in the previous section we created 4 different functions for the 4 SQL statements we executed. Now we would want to do this in a more efficient way. So we are going to create just one function and reuse that function for all the new queries we are going to learn today. The name of our function is going to be query data. Now in Python, we can pass in a parameter into our function. So this will serve as a variable that can help us to reuse our function. So our variable can have any name at all. I would like to use query for the variable. And the first thing we are going to do, as we always do, is establish the connection. We are going to put the next section of our function in a try block. So a try block is just a block that wraps a section of code that could potentially give us an error. So in this next section, we are going to read an SQL query. This could give us an error because there could be a query that would demand some information from a table that is empty, and that's going to give us an error. So we are just going to wrap it in the try block to help us to handle such errors when they pop up. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to read the SQL query. There is a function that does this easily for us, and is a pandas function. So to utilize this function, we'll use the pandas library. The function is called read SQL query. So this function receives 2 parameters. That is the query and the connection to the database. So this is going to return a data frame. So we just assign it to df for short. And the second new block we are going to use today is the finally block. So the finally block basically runs a section of code whether there is an error or not. So what we want to do is, whether there is an error or not, we would want to close the connection. So we'll put that in the finally block. So there we have our function. Let's explore this function a bit. In our next cell, we would want to select all the data in our fruits table. So the first query we are going to use is the select all from the table. That's our fruits table. Let's just type this query. And we'll assign this query to query 1. Now to use this query, we'll pass it as an argument to our query data function. And we are going to assign the result we get from this function to result 1. And we would like to print the result to see how it looks like. So there we have it. This is our data frame, and it contains all the data we have in our table. In order to explore more with different queries, we need some more data in our table. So I'm just going to head over to an AI tool and get some data for our table. So you can head over to your browser and type POE. And then in the text box, you just put in a prompt, give me 50 different fruits in this format. And we go back to our code and get the format we need. We go to the insert data function and then we get the format. Let's just copy this and put it in our AI tool. So you realize that this is going to give us some data. So we're just going to copy this, head over back to our notebook, and replace this with what we copied by Ctrl V. Now, we already have the first 5 records in our table and we do not want a duplicate, so we're just going to get this off. And run this. So let's just view the table to see how it looks like. So there we have it. So now let's go explore with more queries. Our second query is going to be and the results. So there we have it. We have all our fruits with their names and the price that is less than 2. So let's explore with other queries. The third query is going to be so these are the distinct prices we have in our fruit table. The next query we are going to have is query 4. And we would want to select the names of all the fruits in descending order. So there we have, it starts from watermelon and tangerine and ends somewhere in the A column. So let's head over to our next query. Let's find some fruits between two different prices. So the price so here are the names and price of fruits between 1 and 2. Next query will be, we want just 5 records in our results. So we'll use the limits. So we have the first 5 entries, and our next query we want all the fruits that start with A. So from fruit square name, so there we have it. Then our next query, we want just the price. I would rename the results to payment. There you have payment, and then the last query, okay, so we would like to have the average of all the prices. So the average price is apple. Thank you for joining us in our practical section today. Until next time, keep on coding and aim to be a better version of yourself with each passing day. Bye bye.